I know that we watch her and we see the things that she does wrong and it makes us angry. It's because she's stirring up feelings of injustice in us. And we have to remember, though, that God always says that justice is His. And justice is just righting wrongs. And what people normally think about when they think about justice is they think about a courtroom. And what justice really is giving the people in your lives or the people that you've wronged their rightful due. That's what justice really is. And that's what I think that she should do in her life. And I think that if she did that, it would start her on the path of real, lasting happiness. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jennifer. I'm going to concentrate specifically on one particular episode featuring Meghan's friend Vicky, the 7th episode called Elevating the Everyday. I'm going to watch it here on my iPad and give you guys my commentary as I'm watching it. I find that I have the most to say and I get most animated right when I'm watching it, and then I can pause it and just talk to you. There were a lot of things that I noticed in this particular episode especially where I feel like I actually saw glimpses of the real Meghan. I don't know if it's the Meghan that she wants to show us, but I definitely felt several points during this episode where it's like my ears and I was kind of pricking up a little bit because I was watching her talk to her so-called dear friend Vicky, who, if you don't know who Vicky is, she is the creator of the Tatcha skincare line, which is a huge skincare line. And Vicky, I have seen her on QVC, where she talks about her line and how she traveled to Japan to get ideas and the concepts and all the education and all the information that she would need to build this wonderful skincare brand. And I really do like Tatcha skincare. I have tried several products from them over the years, and I find her particularly lovely and knowledgeable. She seemed like someone I would definitely want to hang out with. And like all the people on her show, whether they were the cooks or some of her friends, I really liked those people and wanted to know more about those people. She could have really talked in more depth to her guests about who they were, what they think, what they're about. I felt like everything was just so superficial. But again, I have my iPad here. I'm just going to watch some stuff and then we will chat. So I don't have to go too much into the boring and bland recipes or the 50 million wardrobe changes or how it's not her house. There is something particular in this episode. There's an exchange between her and Vicky, her friend, and I really found it very telling. And in this episode, it's extremely noticeable, especially when Vicky and Meghan are out on her little patio area and they're mixing homemade skincare masks. Vicky's talking to her the entire time and Meghan is just looking down, whether Vicky's talking to her or whether Meghan is talking to Vicky. It's palpable. It's so noticeable, and I could very much feel and see the sadness in Meghan. Meghan very desperately wants to be liked and she wants to be understood. Yet she doesn't want to be truthful and honest with us, and she doesn't want to open up to us. She has a wall and she's only going to put her hands up against that wall and whisper to it so that we can kind of hear. And she wants us to accept her, but she's not going to pull the wall down. And I know that she's hyper aware of the criticism. She's hyper aware of the things that people say about her, that she's trying to counter that in the way that she speaks, in the tone of her voice, all of it. If you'll notice in the show, she whispers a lot. So I think that it's a very deliberate attempt on her part to put the audience at ease so that we will be less apt to criticize. So in this episode, I'm watching her make a harvest basket for her friend Vicky, and I do notice that some of the stuff was a little bit crazy. I mean, this is a really nice basket and it's a really nice thing to do for a friend, but I caught when she had those sugar snap peas and they were in a little cardboard box and she just poured the peas in there. I don't know. If I got that harvest basket, you would have to just take out each individual sugar snap pea. I think if she would have left them in the cardboard box, it would have been easier for her guest. But anyway, and then the other thing I noticed when she was making coffee for her friend Vicky before she came over, who I guess is a coffeeholic, she talks about how coffee's not her thing, and Vicky would offer it to her and it's not really her thing, and sometimes she would say no, but then sometimes she would take a coffee, and she noticed that Vicky liked it a lot sweeter than Meghan would like it. And I'm watching her tell a story about working at a bar in Chicago and stuff, and she's always talking about herself. Can you talk to Vicky, please? Ask Vicky some questions. Vicky looks so sweet. I want to know some stuff about Vicky. I want to know about her skin. I want to know, first of all, how she gets such beautiful skin. I want to know how she came up for the idea for Tatcha skincare in the first place. What does Tatcha mean? What happened when she went to Japan? What did she see? What did she smell? What did she feel? What were the textures? What prompted her to want to make that skincare line? Just stuff like that. I want to know all this stuff. And we don't find out really about any of it. It's all just surface talk. So again, I'm watching her speak to Vicky, and that real hot button scene that really made me want to talk about it is the way that Meghan communicates to people. The eye contact is almost non-existent, and when she is talking, it's almost like she's making a presentation to you, the viewer, with that person kind of there as an innocent bystander. There's a lot of like dramatic type of blinking and all that type of stuff, and she punctuates everything with these flowing gestures. But I definitely notice that when people are speaking to her, she does not look up at them, and she doesn't really look at them when she speaks to them either. And that to me speaks of something going on in here. I think she's very afraid to show people the real Meghan, and she feels like she has to present this version of herself that she thinks is going to go over, but that's what feels so stiff. And I'm watching it right now. I really hate that I can't just put clips in for you guys, but Netflix and YouTube are not allowing it. But I'm just seeing it in every single frame when she's talking. And sometimes also when I see her talking to Vicky, you can tell she's looking off to either the director or a crew member that's somewhat in the line of vision. So to us as a viewer, it kind of looks like she's looking at Vicky, but you can see Meghan's eye level is not actually looking at Vicky, if that makes sense. But Vicky seems very, very warm and just eager to be there and have fun and to teach Meghan something and to learn something from Meghan. Just open. So Meghan is basically telling Vicky that it was Vicky who gave her the idea that if something is broken, that is actually what gives it even more beauty, because when you fix it, it's stronger and therefore more beautiful. She's talking about the fracture makes it more beautiful. And she says, and I just think that it felt really symbolic of saying to anyone that even though you've been through something, you're not broken. It can be fixed. It can be healed and sealed at the same time. And we all know what she's doing. She's telling the viewer, I've been through some things. I've been broken, but I am emerging even more beautiful and strong now, despite everything that I've been through. She's also using this series, just like she used archetypes, as a vehicle to clap back to the people that were criticizing her. Every single time that she got criticized for something, she would have an antidote or a story that would bring back almost as her explanation and her reason why she did what she did. That you have this grievance against her, but she's going to tell you why she did what she did and why she stands what she stands for. So here she's basically saying that everyone is criticizing her. The criticism is unfounded. You don't know the real her. You broke her and fractured her and hurt her. She's a victim, but she is now stronger and more beautiful than ever. Things that have been dropped can be put back together and be beautiful again. And then there's one point where she kind of like looks down and makes that face as if to say, yes, you are talking about me. And in case the audience didn't know, I'm telling you with my face that we are talking about me. And I feel like she has so many wounds that have not healed. And so many people have said that she is a narcissistic personality, that she's pathological, that she's a sociopath. Narcissists never take any kind of accountability for anything. They blame everybody. They live for themselves. People are treated as objects, as stepping stones. I don't know if she has ever been formally diagnosed. I doubt it. There are some reputable people that have written about her and made videos about her that do have degrees and expertise in those subjects that clearly state that in their humble medical opinions that they believe that she is of this narcissistic personality bent. If that's the case, she's suffering, but I don't think she realizes how to get out of it. I think in her mind, if everyone would just stop criticizing her and love her, that everything would be right and everything would be solved and perfect. She's hurt a lot of people in her family and in his family. And they haven't taken accountability for any of it, and they haven't said sorry for any of it. And I think the biggest emotional crime they committed was calling people racist without proof. They tried to disgrace and take down the British monarchy with claims that could not be verified and proven, and that did a lot of damage, and that hurt a lot of people. And she's never addressed it, and she's never come out and said, maybe I made a mistake, or maybe just nothing. And she's still playing the victim. And in this episode in particular, she's still framing herself as that victim. It was really hard for me to see her kind of wince and make these faces as if, yeah, I'm broken and I'm fractured and I was hurt, but I'm okay. Nothing is going to harm me. I'm more beautiful. You still have to ask for forgiveness, but she's never going to, because I don't think she ever thinks that she did anything wrong. Even when you don't think you've done something wrong, you still want to make amends and you still want to go to the person. And I've said this in all my other videos where I'm talking about this. You go to that person and you say, for my part, for what I've done, I am sorry. Whether it was my intention or whether it wasn't my intention, I'm sorry that you were hurt. Even something like that goes such a long way. And we're in the Lenten season now, and I didn't want to do the thing that so many of us do every year and what I've done year after year. Oh, this year I'm going to give up chocolate, or this year I'm going to give up sweets, or this year I'm going to give up my glass of wine that I like, or whatever it is. And I thought, what can I do? Okay, I want to be more present. I want to slow down. I want to practice patience. When I'm talking to someone, I want to give them my full attention. I want to just take some time to really calm down, relax, and stop being so anxious and focused on me. That was actually my Lenten promise to myself this year. And that's why I wanted to talk about this video, because I see so much of that here. I see so much of the focus on me with Meghan in this episode. She's constantly trying to get everything back to her, but she's not really giving anything. And she does show us that she's making these harvest baskets and she's making this jam and she's cooking for her guests, and this is her version of giving and all this kind of stuff. But what would be even better is if she slowed down and gave of herself in a really authentic way, in the way that she looks at people, to just drop the act, drop the mask, and just be present and real to the person in front of her. That is a gift. And that seems like a gift that she is unwilling to give. When they were talking about how cleansing in a skincare ritual is almost like just unpacking for the day and realizing that you have to surrender, that you don't have to hold on to things, that you can just kind of breathe and relax and be, especially as a mom. You want to let go of the bad for your highest good. And Vicky was talking to her, and then Meghan started talking too about how, yes, it's a ritual, and how I'm doing all of these things to just be mindful and be in the moment. And it's this meditation, but as she's talking to Vicky, she doesn't look her in the eye for 80% of it. Almost like she's having a moment with herself the whole time, but she never looks at Vicky. It's like every single moment has to be over dramatized, but I'm still not feeling her. So that's what I'm taking away from this entire show, and from particularly this episode, is I am going to slow down. I am going to make sure that I am more present to the people that I care about in my life. And I'm going to stop in as many ways as I can of making everything all about me. And I know so many of us are so guilty of this. We're so wrapped up in our lives with the things that we're doing, with the things that we want to accomplish, our anxieties, the day-to-dayness that we can get caught up in. We don't really stop to just breathe and focus on the person right in front of us, and just stop making it so much about us. And as a Roman Catholic, as a Christian, Jesus calls us to be selfless. It's so hard, but we need to really start being more outwardly focused on people around us. What do they need? How can they feel cherished? How can they feel heard? And it gets hard when we're so focused on ourselves and what we want to do, but that is what we're called to do. And I guess you don't even have to be a Christian to feel like that. You don't even have to be Christian to know that it is a good thing to really focus on other people, and to stop turning things so inward all the time, and to stop being so insulated and worrying about ourselves all the time. And that was just what was so glaringly obvious to me watching this show, watching her emote. She is performing. She is trying to get us to love her, and it's falling flat because it doesn't feel genuine. It's just this performance. It looks pretty, right? Love me, but there's no real communication. There's no real emotion. I don't feel anything. And I wish that for her. I wish she would just stop all of this Netflix show stuff. I wish she would stop these podcasts. She doesn't have to prove herself to anybody. She does not have to make us love her. That is not the objective. The objective is to really just get right with herself, get right with her family, his family, work on rebuilding the relationships in her life. And I'm going to continue to pray for her. I would encourage a lot of you watching to pray for her. I know that we watch her and we see the things that she does wrong, and it makes us angry. It's because she's stirring up feelings of injustice in us. And we have to remember, though, that God always says that justice is his. And justice is just righting wrongs. And what people normally think about when they think about justice is they think about a courtroom. And what justice really is giving the people in your lives, or the people that you've wronged, their rightful due. That's what justice really is. And that's what I think that she should do in her life. And I think that if she did that, it would start her on the path of real, lasting happiness. This Netflix show, these podcasts, this business she's trying to create, these articles she's constantly putting out and posturing to make us love her, she will not find happiness there. She is not going to find happiness looking outward. She needs to start by first accepting herself, and then focusing on the people around her and trying to rebuild those relationships. So I know I was a little deep on this one, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there that's super boring, and from the food to all that, we could criticize that until the day is long, but just watching those exchanges between her and a lot of her so-called dear friends on that show was unsettling for me. So I am going to pray that she finds real love and real connection, because I do not feel that she has it. And I'm going to make sure that I work on that in my own life. I want to make sure that I am deepening the connections with people in my life, and I'm making it less about myself. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I will talk to you very soon.